Today, I'll tell you about a thrilling, dramatic action film called True Legend: Armor of Dark Gold. At the very beginning, General Su Kun leads his brave army into battle at a massive mountain fortress. His mission? To rescue the prince who has been trapped under siege. The fight is fierce, and by its end, the fate of the valiant commander remains unknown. Su's sworn brother, Yuan, informs the prince that the general did not survive. But moments later, to everyone's astonishment, Su Kun himself enters the room, alive and unharmed. The prince's joy knows no bounds, yet Yuan's face darkens with barely hidden resentment. The prince thanks Su for saving his life and promises to ask the emperor to grant him the title of governor. However, Su humbly refuses, insisting that his brother Yuan displayed even greater courage and is more deserving of such honor. Later that night, as soldiers celebrate their victory by the fire, Su raises his cup and, in gratitude, presents his sword to the bravest warrior, declaring that a great blade must belong to a great fighter. Su then explains to Yuan why he declined the prestigious title. First, he truly believes Yuan is the better warrior. Second, he wishes to retire from battle and live peacefully beside his beloved, who happens to be Yuan's sister. These words deeply wound Yuan, who has always lived in the shadow of Su, receiving only what his brother no longer wanted. Still, he accepts the appointment, though guilt gnaws at him. As they part, Yuan promises that one day he will repay Su's kindness. 5 years pass. Su now lives quietly in his father's province with his wife Inping and their young son Feng. Their life seems blissful, filled with warmth, laughter, and calm. But the peace shatters when Su's father warns him that Governor Yuan is coming to visit. The general suspects nothing, yet the old man senses danger in the air. Years earlier, Yuan's father had been a ruthless tyrant who mastered the deadly art of the 5 Venom Fists, terrorizing thousands, until Su Kun defeated him, restoring justice and peace. Now Yuan returns not as a brother, but as an enemy driven by vengeance. Yuan arrives at Su's palace with a full army. The moment the elder Su lays eyes on him, he recognizes the hatred burning within. Yuan has spent years feeding his fury, and now he intends to avenge his father's death. The old man hides his fear from his daughter-in-law and grandson, greeting Yuan with dignity. But in private, Yuan murders him. Before dying, the elder Su realizes his killer has mastered the same deadly 5 Venom Fists, but he cannot warn his son. Yuan leaves the chamber carrying a blood-stained bundle, his grim trophy. Chaos erupts. When Su Kun returns and learns what happened, he rushes to the palace only to find devastation. His guard slain, his father dead, and his wife and son taken captive. Tracking Yuan down, he confronts him in a fierce duel, but Yuan is ready. He tears off his robe, revealing an iron cuirass beneath, making his body nearly invincible. His hands drip with venom, and with the fatal 5 Venom Fists technique, he strikes Su, sending him tumbling into a raging river. Yinping, witnessing her husband swept away, dives in after him. Her love outweighs her fear. The river eventually carries them to the shore. Exhausted but alive, Yin drags the badly wounded Su into the mountains. On the verge of collapse, she encounters a hermit, a wise woman living alone, who rescues them and tends to Su with herbs, potions, and acupuncture. Weeks later, Su awakens, but his joy quickly fades. His right arm is paralyzed beyond repair. He can no longer wield a weapon, defend his wife, or save his son. Even simple tasks cause him pain. Tormented by despair, he nearly loses his will to live, but Yinping refuses to let him fall. She urges him to have faith, to believe that recovery is still possible. Deep down, she knows the path ahead will be long and painful, yet she remains steadfast. As Su battles his helplessness, Yin supports them both. She gathers herbs, makes medicinal wine, and sells it in town to repay the hermit's kindness. A year passes in this quiet struggle. Meanwhile, Yuan rules from his palace, raising young Feng as both a ward and a prisoner. Though he treats the boy kindly, he keeps him in chains, afraid the child might escape. Feng often dreams of his parents, not knowing if they're alive. Back in the mountains, Su slowly resumes training. Every move sends agony through his injured arm, but he persists. Day by day, his strength and spirit grow. He begins by holding handstands, then lifting stones, and soon his strikes grow so powerful that bark flies off the practice tree. One day during training, Su hears laughter and sees an old kung fu master accompanied by a young god of martial arts. Following them through the forest, he finds himself on a stone arena, where he begs them to teach him, to help him avenge his brother's betrayal and reclaim his son. From that day on, training became his life's purpose. Each night he tells Yinping about his progress, proudly showing the bruises on his body, promising that soon he will become invincible. Yinping believes him, until one day while speaking with the hermit, she learns a horrifying truth. No one has lived in these mountains for many years. The hermit warns that Su's relentless training is consuming him from within. Troubled, Yin secretly follows her husband, and what she sees freezes her blood. Su is fighting alone, striking at empty air. The grand arena he described is just a clearing in the woods. The wounds on his body are self-inflicted. His husband has been training with ghosts, and slowly losing his mind. Meanwhile, Yuan continues to perfect the deadly 5 Venom Fist technique. Every day, he meditates among spiders and scorpions, absorbing their venom to make his body even more lethal. He tests his strength on captives and even on his own guards. For him, there are no limits. Revenge has long clouded his mind. At the same time, Yinping sits on the edge of a cliff, singing a song in hopes that the wind will carry her voice to her son. She believes that, somewhere far away, Feng will hear his mother and stop crying. To numb her own pain, she pours wine and offers a drink to her husband. But when Su Kun returns from training, he finds only a note. In it, Ying writes that she is leaving to search for their son, even if it means being captured by Yuan. She no longer believes that her husband, driven nearly mad by training, can rescue the child. Ying travels to the palace. Before Yuan, she falls to her knees, begging him to release Feng. But Yuan only smiles. He has his own plans now. He is happy to see his sister and has no intention of losing her again. Yuan orders his guards to prepare for battle, having learned that Su Kun is alive and approaching the castle gates. Before the fight, Yuan gives a chilling order. Bury a chest containing Feng and Yinping somewhere in the forest so that no one can find them. Once the task is completed, he mercilessly kills all who helped, ensuring the secret remains hidden. No one must know where the hostages are. Su Kun fights his way through hundreds of soldiers, leaving a trail of fallen enemies behind him. His rage is boundless. Now he fights not only for himself, but for his family. Eventually, he confronts Yuan, and the brothers engage in a monumental duel. This time, Su Kun is not the same man as before. His spirit has been tempered, and his body has become unyielding. He shatters Yuan's iron armor with ease, rendering him vulnerable. The venom no longer affects him. Years of training have taught Su to control his internal energy. In a fierce battle, Su emerges victorious. But as he is about to deliver the final blow, his son intervenes. Little Feng pleads with his father to stop. If Yuan dies, no one will tell them where his mother is. His son's words bring Su back to his senses. A dying guard, though barely alive, manages to reveal the chest's location. A heavy rain begins and torrents wash away the earth. Su and his son rush to the forest. They find the chest, but upon opening it, horror strikes. Yinping is already dead. The general collapses to his knees, clutching his wife. Everything he had lived for crumbles in an instant. Several years pass. China changes, dynasties fall, and the era of heroes fades. Su Kun cares little for politics. He drowns his sorrow in wine and wanders the roads with his grown son. Feng begs for food, doing whatever he can to sustain them. Their lives become a relentless cycle of misfortune and humiliation. One day, while sitting in an alleyway, Su hears a commotion near a fight club. He recognizes one of the guards as his former comrade, Ma, the soldier to whom he once gifted his sword. Su hides his face under a hood, unwilling to be recognized. After receiving some alms, he goes to a bar. Tasting the local wine, he realizes it pales in comparison to the one his wife used to make. Memories surge, and he erupts into a fight, proving that his martial skills are far from gone. In the bar, Su meets a drunken vagabond demonstrating the drunken fist technique. Fascinated, Su decides to master it. During a scuffle, he defeats the guards with ease, and Ma arrives again. His old comrade recognizes the general and urges him to return to life, reminding him of their past, of honor in victory. Ma returns Su the very sword, a symbol of strength and integrity. But Su only smiles bitterly. He asks Ma to care for Feng, admitting he can no longer be a father. The boy cries, reluctant to leave his father, but soon understands he cannot survive having lost both parents. Ma takes them under his protection, promising to help. Soon, a grand fight is organized in the city arena. Only wealthy spectators are allowed, but Su and Feng manage to enter with Ma's help. As Ma faces a powerful opponent in the ring, Su retreats to a bar to seek solace in wine. Feng watches the battle. Ma loses. His opponent is far stronger. When he collapses unconscious, the giant lifts Feng with one hand, holding him above his head. Hearing his son scream, Su snaps out of his stupor. He bursts into the arena, casting off his cloak, and joins the fight. The crowd roars. More opponents enter the ring, but Su, though exhausted, fights with unmatched skill. He combines drunken fist with ancient wushu techniques. His movements are unpredictable, each strike infused with the pain of loss. He defeats all challengers, even those empowered by a European master's strength-enhancing elixir. When it seems Su-kun will collapse, the image of his beloved wife appears before him. Her smile gives him strength. He rises, defeats the final opponent, and embraces his son. In that moment, he realizes that his journey was not in vain. From then on, Su-kun and Feng travel across China, teaching the art of drunken fist. His philosophy is not about rage, but about freedom of spirit. Over time, the general becomes a true martial legend. His name is passed down through generations as a symbol of courage, love, and strength that transcends even death. Friends, thank you for watching. Leave your thoughts about this film in the comments. And don't forget to support us with a like and subscription. Many more amazing stories await.